Good afternoon. My name is Danny. Welcome to my Fig Sticks, where fig addiction, it's a real thing, y'all. Hey, in today's video, we're going to take a look at all of the mini air layer experiments that I have going on. I'm going to give you an update on whether they are, one, ready to go, two, not ready to go. How is the soil doing? How is the different methods, whether I girdled, scraped, just half girdled, all of that, how are they doing? I want to give you an update on all of that, as well as the one that I just started last week with the Ziploc bag, kind of touch base on that one. I'm also going to start another air layer experiment today, and we'll talk about that as well. But this video is going to cover all of those things, where we stand and where we're going. Maybe I'm ready to cut some of these air layers off. I'm going to need your help though. Drop me a comment below after you see this and let me know, are these air layers ready? Can I cut them off? What's next? I'm brand new to air layering, y'all. I'm trying to learn as much as I can, and I need your help so that I'll know what the next step is. One thing I do want to point out is that my phone and my microphone are not getting along right now. So I've got to get a peace treaty signed between the two of them. So I'm using the AirPods. We're going to see how that works out. I'm not even sure how this is going to edit in the audio category, but let's get started and take a look at my fig trees and my first set of air layers, y'all. This was the very first air layers that I did were on this tree right here. So let's check them out. I think we're at 3.5 weeks. So let's see how the different soils did. I use HP Pro Mix. I use what I typically use as a seed starting mix in my garden. And on this first one, I did the full girdle. So all the way around the bark and cambium has been removed. So let's check them out. All right, on this tree, this is a Celeste fig tree I bought at a nursery down in Houston. Let me get this full off. Okay, so first off, the I use two different soil mixes. One is HP Pro Mix, one is my starting mix. And I can tell y'all, I can see the texture in the HP Pro Mix, and I can tell the difference. So one thing I will tell you right away, first off, the HP Pro Mix dries out super, super fast. That's this one here. This is my mix that I use, and it doesn't dry out near as well. However, what you're about to see is that the HP Pro Mix undoubtedly, at least in this situation, put on roots much, much faster. Let me zoom in so you can see that. All right, so this one here, hopefully that's zooming in for y'all, but you can see all of the roots inside of this little soil pod. See if I can get underneath too. Yeah, look at all those roots. Oh my gosh, this thing looks good. 3.5 weeks. This one's looking very, very good. I'm excited about this, but move over here to this is seed starting mix mixed with a little bit of garden soil. And in this case, oh, I can see a little bit of rooting. So take y'all around here on this side. Try not to make you feel like you're on a roller coaster, but there is some rooting here, but not nearly as much rooting as what is showing up on the HP Pro Mix. So there's one, at least in this one, that is one thing answered, which is going to do better, which soil is going to do better, Pro Mix HP or starting mix with garden soil. So let's recap. HP Pro Mix dries out super fast. I have to add water to it every 2 or 3 days, or it will just be dry as a bone. While my mix is not drying out as fast, I'm not seeing near as many roots. So here's a question for everyone. Am I getting it too wet? Is it the fact that it's dry the reason why I'm getting more roots? Or is it the fact that HP Pro Mix is just that much better? Drop me a comment below. Let me know what you think. So this is the first one. This is the Celeste full girdle, no cambium, no bark left. And this is where we're at. Pro Mix looking fantastic. I'm not sure this one's ready to go or not. Y'all let me know. And then we're going to move on down to the next tree. This one is my original fig tree. This is a Texas everbearing fig tree. Again, I bought this one at a local nursery. Holy moly. This one is like literally, I think, about to bust the pod open with roots. I'll get in a little closer in just a second. I don't know if y'all can see that from here, but holy cow. Now this one, this is the HP Pro Mix, I believe. Let me pull this one. Yeah, I can tell again with the texture, the look of it. This one over here is my mix. It's got roots too, but I'm going to get y'all a little closer look at them so you can see better the rooting action. So this is the HP Pro Mix. Y'all, it's literally pushing the ball off. There are so many roots in this one. I think it may be ready to come off the tree. I'm going to have to get you guys to help me out with that, but absolutely incredible. And not so much on top. Okay, so let's think about this for a second. HP Pro Mix, I'm having to add lots of water to it every couple, 2 or 3 days. Look where the roots are. Look where the majority of the roots are. They're on the bottom of the soil pod. There's roots on top, but not nearly as many. So what's that tell us? They want the moisture. So that may answer my question from the one before on, is it dry? It needs to be drier or does it need to be more moist? I believe the moisture is definitely spurring on the root growth in this case. So this one's looking fantastic. The one right next to it, this is the mix that I make. I can see roots. Again, way more roots on the bottom where the moisture is collecting. But y'all, what a big difference between the HP Pro Mix and the seed starting mix with garden soil. It's not even close. Pro Mix is killing it on there. So obviously this one is not ready to take off. I'm going to give it a little more time, but y'all, if I don't take this other one off soon, I think it's going to bust the pod wide open. Okay, so this one, much, much different results. I forgot to tell you on the Texas Everbearing down there, that was a half girdle. So again, then the girdle is on top of both of those, by the way, not on the bottom. So the rooting is heavier on the bottom of the girdle, but look at this. Y'all, this had no girdling. This was strictly scraping the bark. I think this is how basement figs does it. Oops, sorry about that. Tipped over the tripod. But look at this. Both of these are just loaded with roots. Holy mackerel. This is fantastic results. Again, okay, so this one here is the HP Pro Mix. I can't really tell a difference. Maybe a little bit. This is my mix here. Maybe a little bit of difference in this one. But y'all, all I did was scrape the bark to where I could see the cambium. And then I put on the rooting mix and wrapped it up. And this is okay. So both of these are looking fantastic. In fact, both of these may be ready to come off. I may rely on you guys to help me with that. But what are we learning here? A couple things I'll recap in a minute when we look at all of them, but I'm very impressed. If I can just scrape the bark and get these kind of results, I think that may be my go-to, y'all. I'm going to try it again. I may start another experiment. I want to try this again with a different tree. Maybe it's the tree. Maybe I need to try several of these on different trees and see if I see a difference. And then I can tell, does this tree prefer girdling? Does this tree prefer half girdle? Does this tree just prefer scraping? Or what I'm about to try is none of the above. Okay, so this is a Celeste fig. Y'all, I had a viewer comment and ask a question. They said, have you ever tried no scraping, no girdling, no rooting hormone, just strictly a soil pod onto a couple nodes and see what happens? So I'm going to try that on this tree. I don't remember the viewer's name. I will put them up here on the screen to give them credit for this question because it's a great question. Is everything that we're doing over there even worth it? Let's find out. I'm going to do one now with no rooting hormone, no scraping, no girdling, no anything. For this one, because I didn't have any of my starting mix put together, I'm using on both of these, I'm using the HP Pro Mix. Now, this tree, I picked it because it has lots of branches, and I know that I want to try to limit this one to three or four scaffolds. And so, what I'm going to do, and I'll shape them accordingly, but what I'm going to do, I know this one is probably too low. I really like the position of this one and this one and this one and this one. So, those four right there, and I can shape these four how I want them. I think this one would come off anyway. So I'm going to have one of my air layers right there. So again, if you haven't seen my other video, let me show you these little soil pods. The cups on one end is much larger than the cup on the other end. The reason they do that is so that we can add moisture if we need to. We can pour it in, the cup's larger, we get more moisture in. Y'all, with the HP Pro Mix, I've had to do that quite a bit. So what I'm looking for here, and I'll probably zoom in to make sure that you can see this, but what I'm looking for is a couple of nodes that are pretty close together. I want to try to capture multiple nodes. So here I have two nodes that are really close together. They will easily fit inside of my soil pod. So I'm going to attach the soil pod here, capturing both of these nodes. No scraping, no girdling, no Clonex. All right, I got zoomed in a little better for y'all. So again, these two nodes right here. Okay, so I want to say something else. Y'all, these soil pods, while I like them, I can see the roots in them. I mean, y'all just saw how well you can see the roots in them. I can add water pretty easy. Y'all, they don't snap together worth a flip. So I'm maybe I got the wrong soul pods. I don't know. I'm going to be looking for something different. So actually, now that I've got this on here, I'm actually going to hit three nodes. So I'm just going to clamp that down. Well, look, I hated on them, and that snapped together so easy. Unbelievable. Maybe that's all they needed. Maybe they needed me to hate on them for them to work. I'm not even going to have to use zip ties on this one. That snapped together perfect. I captured three nodes inside of this soil ball for this one, and y'all saw no scraping, no hormone, nothing. So we're going to see how this one does. And hey, for the third video, air layering, I forgot the aluminum foil. So I'll have to go get that in a minute. But let's pick a second branch to try this on as well. All right, so like we just talked about before, this branch, this branch, this branch, and this branch are all at slightly different angles. I really like them. I feel like they're coming out in the four different quadrants. This branch is on the same quadrant as this branch. So this is going to be my second air layer. Let me see. Oh yeah, this one's got nodes so close together. This is going to be no problem to capture numerous nodes. I'm going to put this one, I'm going to put it pretty close. I'm going to put it as close as I feel like I can get it to the trunk. Y'all, I'm getting like, these are so close together. I'm getting like five nodes in this tiny little soil ball. Oops. All right, no scraping, no girdling, no hormone, just snapping them together. Oh, good. And this one decided to fight me like I told you they do. So on this one, oh, that one went. All right, so I'm going to put a zip tie right here for this one just to make sure that it doesn't come apart. Maybe. There we go. All right, so we're going to check in on this every week, maybe every 2 weeks, and see how these are doing with no preparation, strictly soil in a soil pod. All right, if you watched my topping video, this is the tree that I cut the complete top half out of this tree and turned it into cuttings. I am trying that, but the focus there was this tree was as tall as I am. I mean, I could barely reach the top of it. The only scaffolds were here or at the very top. I'm in East Texas. I've got 2 more months to get good growth on these trees. I wanted to stop focusing growth up here and concentrate all of the growth down here. I need these scaffolds to grow as much as they can and begin to lignify before the fall comes and all of my growth stops. So I cut the top of this tree out. This is what I'm getting. I will try to put a before and after picture up of this. I'll put it on the screen so that y'all can see it. But y'all, this is fantastic. I think this is working exactly the way I hoped it would. Now all my scaffolds are down here at a lower level. They're easier for me to manage. I'm going to be able to pick and choose the ones that I really want to keep on this tree and keep my 3 or 4 scaffolds that I can then shape the way I want them. Y'all, Figologist is the one that gave me this idea. Great idea. I was so nervous about cutting this tree down. If you haven't seen that video, I'll try to link it up here if I can figure out how to do that in YouTube world. But this has worked absolutely perfect. Exactly what I was hoping for. I'm seeing lots and lots of growth coming out of these scaffolds, these branches, and I know that in 2 more months, these scaffolds are going to be out to here or even more. They're doing so well. Thank you, Figologists, for the idea and the encouragement to cut my tree down. All right, so we talked about the topping experiment. So let's talk about what I did with the top of that tree. I didn't just throw it in the trash. Of course not. I'm trying to make the best use of that. I heard lots of people say that rooting cuttings in the summertime when they're actively were actively growing is so much easier. That's what I'm doing here. This was about 3 weeks ago. I'm sorry, this was about 3 weeks ago that I topped that tree. Y'all, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I can't see roots. I know they're going to put on leafy growth first, and I don't see any roots coming out the bottom, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. If you haven't seen this video, again, I'll try to link it up here somewhere. Let the pig guide you, but I'll try to link that up there so you can go check it out on how I topped that tree. And then the second video, the sequel to that, if you will, was the taking of the cuttings. So you can see that the cuttings in the HP Pro Mix are looking really good. So here's something that has surprised me. This is the very top of that tree. Hopefully those don't fall over. So what I did was I cut off all the growth and then I just put it in a jar of water. And the hope was that I was going to get a bunch of roots. Now, initially, I was seeing tons and tons of roots coming out on that, but they've since darkened. There are still a few that are really white, but for the most part, those roots have darkened up. So I don't know what's going on with this one. I do see new growth right here on the very tip of this one, but that's about it. So I'm not sure what's happening with the top of this tree, but here's the surprise. This was just a tiny little side branch. Um, I had no hopes for this. I went ahead and stuck it in a jar of water because why not? Y'all, look, can y'all see all of the roots? It is actually putting on lots of roots, and I'm starting to get little buds at the top. I know I don't necessarily want that before the root growth, but I'm kind of excited and surprised to see that this little twig really took off and is rooting much quicker than the top, which I just assumed the top would take off really quickly. Well, it did take off really quickly, but it has since slowed and to the point where I'm not sure that it's going to make it or not. But that is what I did with all of the cuttings that I took off of that top tree. Hopefully, you can do something and feel some encouragement. The fact that I believe that this is working to perfection, not only at the base where I'm getting all of that new scaffold growth, but also with the cuttings I took from the top of that tree. This air layer here, essentially what I'm trying to do is top this tree by using an air layer. The reason I didn't want to cut the top out of the tree is it's covered in figs. I don't know if these figs are going to make it, but I didn't want to just cut them off and then they had no chance. This is an I-258 tree I grew from cutting in December, but look how tall it is, y'all. I started this tree in December, the end of December at that. And crazy, incredible growth, but I do have an air layer. We'll take this off. I know there's no roots in it. I had actually checked this a little earlier, but I'm using the Ziploc bag method on this one. It's only been a week, right at a week, in fact. And so no roots showing just yet on this one. I tried the Fig Fathers method, and all I did at two different nodes was take a little nick out of the bark and the cambium on two sides. So two nodes, two nicked two sides of two nodes. So I got four different nicks in this tree inside of this air layer, and we're going to see how that does. But again, it's only been a week. I will say this. The Ziploc bag seems to be holding moisture very well. I can still see moisture inside of this. So hopefully that Ziploc bag is in fact holding that moisture very well. But we'll keep checking in on this one as we go, because I know it's just going to take it a little while to get going. Um, Maybe I'll check back next week. Maybe I'll just leave it for another couple weeks, and then we'll check back from there. But this one I'm kind of excited about. I-258. Basically, I'm going to grow a whole new tree, but I'm going to start it right here. There's no scaffoldings on this tree anywhere, no branching anywhere except at the very top. And so my thought process was, okay, well, this winter, I'm going to take cuttings all the way down to somewhere in here and hope that in the spring, when it wakes up, I get my branching there. And that probably will happen. But then I've got all of this that I'm going to lose. And so I thought, well, let's just try an air layer. I took a page out of Figgy Ed's playbook and I'm air layering the very top of this tree, and hopefully this works. One other thing that I wanted to show y'all, over the Labor Day holiday, my wife and I went to Covington, Louisiana, where I picked up a new fig. We were there to meet the son's new in-laws, and I happened across a Beers Black fig tree. Now, his leaves look leaves. Yeah, we'll go with leaves. Sorry about that. My English sometimes. The leaves look pretty rough, but after a 6-hour trip riding in the bed of my truck, it was laid down. I don't think it looks too bad. I tried to put it in the back seat with all of my wife's luggage, and it didn't fit very well. And I could have made it work, but I think the luggage would have been used as a brace, and so that was fixed pretty quick. So he rode in the bed of the truck, and I think he looks all right. I've been watering him pretty good, trying to keep him going, but I did get that at a Home Depot in Covington, Louisiana. Now, one other thing, this weekend, y'all, I subscribed to Lazy Dog Farms and I got an email that they had some more figs on their website. Some of them were on sale. Y'all, I bought four more. Oh gosh, where am I going to put all these figs? I don't know, but I couldn't pass it up, right? Lazy Dog's been sold out for a while. He had numerous varieties that I've been wanting, but I picked four, tried to contain myself and only picked four. Add in the Beers Black from Home Depot. That's five new figs coming to the house. I'll be building fig pots for those. Just wanted to point out, check out Lazy Dog. He does have lots of figs back up on his website, and some of them are even on sale. So check him out. All right, y'all, that was kind of a long fig experiment tour, but I wanted to give y'all updates because that's how we learn. That's how we grow. We have to keep checking in on all of these experiments so that we can document timing, which is working better. How long did it take? Did it dry out? Is it too moist? All of those things I'm documenting so that I know better what works for me as far as air layering in this case goes. So I wanted to give all of you an update. If you've stuck around this long, I truly, truly appreciate it. Please, y'all, drop me a comment. Let me know what you think of the content. Let me know, are some of these air layers ready to go? I mean, I got one that's about to bust open the soil pot. I feel as if he's got to come off, right? So drop me a comment and let me know. Y'all, I really appreciate everyone who has subscribed. I really appreciate the comments. I'm learning lots of things from those comments. I had a viewer ask me just today about the different variations of fig leaves. Y'all, I didn't know. I had to look it up, but I found an answer and now I know. Younger trees, especially, will show different variations in fig leaves depending on their environment, the water habits, the sun exposure, all of those things. I didn't know that. I do now. So I really appreciate the comments. I really appreciate all of you sticking around, y'all. Welcome to My Fig Sticks, where fig addiction, it's a real thing, y'all. Join the Figolution. Get you some figs, get started, but be careful. You're going to get addicted. Thanks for watching. Well, I guess I got to go get some full. Why can I never remember the aluminum foil?